4 Chicken McNuggets for just $9.95 every day.
We overanalyze that ad way too much.
What that woman doesn't realize is it's their money. When you become a couple, it's your she's taking back from herself. You know what I mean? Like they both would have worked hard throughout their entire careers. They built a pool of wealth, of income, and then she's like, "You owe me a tenner for some cheeky nugs," and he's like, "It's our money. It's ours.
What if
you're
that
robbing from yourself?"
What if that was the ad and it was like, okay, darling, you owe me a tenner for some cheeky nugs. And it's just like,
I reckon.
boom.
Here's what I would love. I would love to make some McDonald's ads as the OPL broadcast team, or even remake their ads. We include all the branding, we include all the necessary information, but we just get to make old women say things like that.
Shotgun.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, go for it. I was going to say the OPL viewers are doing budget cosplay. We could just do budget McDonald's ads.
Yeah,
That's a good one.
I was going to say Shotgun being the used car salesman that's just like facing the other direction. Not the guy that has the witty one. I'll just look. I'll just look somewhere.
I'll just look.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that was certainly a fight that Legacy put up. But you did see at the end there with that last play. I mean, it was like watching the Witch of the West melt. Like it was just like that whole team. You just saw slowly their faces be like,
Yeah,
this is it.
Like player cams, like sinking to their chairs. Yeah, it was a bit like that. Like coming into it, we were saying like the back end of the day is looking to be like the close one, but that was much closer than expected. Like curious things, Mimic's build was like the first one coming through. It was like the rapid fire, the Bork from the cannon, like more of the on hit, not like the AP team fight that we have seen for a bunch of time. But like given contrast to like Legacy's game yesterday, they just didn't get to do anything. This was the complete opposite. They did so much that game.
Yeah.
Sometimes they were doing too much, right? It was a TP to like clean up a back end of a fight that gets punished. It was them being very proactive, but at the end of the day, Bombers are still the Bombers, and they just kept punishing them.
Yeah, and for me, this is a conversation that we actually had with Bryce during the game that was happening. Was like when you watch Legacy make a play, there was 5 people there. They invited the whole friends and family, to come make that dive on a side lane.
Yeah.
Where Bombers would just summon the Herald as 2 people, or the jungler would just go top lane, and basically equalized every trade with minimal effort required. When you look at the execution, where Legacy had to put everything into it, and I want to commend Legacy for playing well for the most part in that game. I thought it was obviously between days a massive improvement, but the effort that went in still just to get that close to the Bombers was just exponentially higher than you'd expect.
And then that's the final nail in the coffin for their split when it comes to any sort of contention run. So we'll see how they take this time now. I will ask, what do you do in this period where you go, you're not necessarily fighting towards something?
Well,
does the ambition change?
Well, I mean, I'm not sure, but like Rusty said, it's like, okay, like that's scary. Just a blue shell for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, like, who knows what Legacy's going to be whipping out? Like, you know what I mean? Like, playoff contention is off the cards, so the pressure is off by all intents and purposes there. So it could get wild. We have seen like a bunch of like Elise Talon, super aggressive stuff. Like maybe it just goes even further in that trajectory, and players start playing for themselves, right? Like to take a look at it's like the league Legacy cannot make it to the playoffs, but like players want to make a good impression of themselves individually. Yeah.
I mean, when were Legacy scary in the last split, Nick? Was when they were basically out of contention.
Yep.
And then they just took it to everyone. We saw Pentakills almost coming up for Praedyth, when they start to style on people and play with no regard for the result, they are terrifying. And I'm just glad that I'm not their coach, because it's not going to be as wacky as I can imagine it could be if I were.
All right, well, exciting to see what Legacy have in store for us. What I have in store for you, I've been injected with a bunch of questions.
Is that what you wanted?
Is that what you want? Does that make you happy?
Jake just slowly shaking his head. I've been injected with a bunch of questions, and it's just...
Sometimes you got to think of a bunch of words that all kind of mean the same thing. And, it's difficult. My job is hard. I'm actually going to start this one off very quickly, because we were having a conversation before the broadcast started. Who was it? Someone brought up Renekton. It was you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Does Renekton lay eggs?
Yeah. And so then I said yes, because crocodiles lay eggs. And then, as Jake pointed out, well, first of all, Renekton's a male crocodile, so that's not going to happen. But then he followed it up with, And secondly, he's actually a man who was turned into a crocodile. So
What?
my question is, if you get turned into something, are your surely like your reproductive organs, like it's the whole thing, right? Like he's not just wearing a skin. He's not just a man with a crocodile skin.
First of all, how did Bryce say what? You think a dog and a crocodile are brothers?
I haven't read the law. Yeah, what do you mean? Actually, now that you point that out, yes, that is completely.
What was their
that
mother?
doesn't work.
But I don't think so. I think that when you get changed or cursed or whatever,
Yep.
they half-ass it.
Interesting. So you think it's more
facade.
like a glamour or something,
Yes.
where you, to the outside world you appear as a crocodile, but actually it's just a mirage, if you will.
Because
and-
otherwise, how does he speak? How does he function with a weapon? How is he standing upright on two legs? Because if you turn into a crocodile, like, look, I'm no crocodile expert, but you're on all fours and you're not carrying around an axe/blade thing.
Yeah, that's true. But you're also smaller than the size of that croc.
Correct.
Like a
but
big blade.
that's what I'm saying. Like, so, like, you're not turned into a crocodile. 'Cause
Yeah.
like, Nasus, even though he looks like a dog,
Interesting.
does not function as a dog would function.
Interesting.
So
So
just
then,
woofing it up to top lane.
so my final
Doggy massage. Renekton's just like, come here.
my final question then would be, when he gets injured in the field of battle, does he go to a doctor or a vet?
Ooh. Ooh, okay.
That one I don't know.
Yeah.
All right.
This,
Don't know.
Let's ask someone on the law team to get back to us. and
I
we'll
would
find
say, because there are, like, in League of Legends, there are doctors that are also, like, all-encompassing type of characters. So, like, is Singe just, like, a mad scientist who's done, like, doctorate-style work?
out. Yeah, right.
Like,
Did
you'd probably
Mundo
end up
just
at
take
one
a
of them.
jacket?
Maybe you go to
Mundo.
Warwick.
Go to Warwick.
Was Warwick a scientist as well, or was he?
He was an experiment, I think.
Okay.
Was he? He was one of Singe's experiments, I believe.
Yeah, I don't know.
I feel like
Mundo's a doctor.
you walk into the hospital, Nurse Akali takes you into the triage little bay. I feel
Oh,
like
yeah.
Little Red Riding Hood Warwick is definitely sitting like coughing it up in the waiting room. And maybe Sin's just behind the glass door. Who knows?
And then Renekton's there banging on the glass going, why can't I lay eggs? I was promised. All right, let's get on to the real questions. The first one comes in from, I believe it's Vokes Os, who says, G'day, guys. Do you have
G'day.
any advice for someone wanting to get into the pro scene? How do you get picked up by teams? Is it all based on your rank? Well, this question actually got answered by Luch, pretty much. Just walk in and go, rank
rank
one.
one.
You're done.
Well, you've done this. I was a weird case because I kind of existed before there was a professional scene and just was here when there was one.
Yeah, it doesn't all come down to rank, obviously, but it is very important. As like a singular player trying to get onto a pro team, like if that is your ambition, the one thing you have control over is like your play in solo queue. And the one big thing, and maybe like I was a poor example of this, right? And a bunch of players have been, but is like befriend pro players. Like you don't want to be an asshole in solo queue because as soon as the people that are picking teams don't like you, gets infinitely harder. So like focus on yourself. Stop blaming people around you. Play solo queue. Get super high rated.
Yeah.
But then there's also like the other avenues, right? It's not just about how good you are individually. Like OCS, like the grassroots feeding up into the pro leagues. That stuff is valuable in becoming a well-rounded player. We talk a lot, and maybe it's a bit boring about like consistency and all of that sort of stuff. But it is important in the pro scene. And yeah, 100% just take ownership of the stuff you have control over, and the stuff you don't. Who cares? It's not
Yeah.
worth your thought.
I mean, for me, there's a lot of things to this. I think Bryce's first point's a very big deal. It's do not be a piece of shit in solo queue because that ruins all of your chances.
And everyone in this building who works in League professionally just plays League all the time. So like I said, they just know. They're just going to see you. They know
Yeah.
that name. They don't want anything
You
to
don't
do
know
with
where the bridges are, and if you burnt them before you walk across, then
And people have Smurfs, right?
analogy.
So you don't know if you're playing with someone on a Smurf account and suddenly your bridge is burnt accidentally because it's a random person. Or you
could be-
thought it
That's
was.
You could
Actually-
think you're playing with chippies. You're actually playing with someone who isn't chippies.
I
Miru.
would say, but like there is no point of no return to me. Like, you know, I've had players that have like been toxicity worn and things like that in the past, and I think that, you know, there is ways to recover that. Like I always say, like reach out to teams, be honest, and then like have realistic expectations. I always look at someone like Sully. You know, he's wanted to join Order as a jungler. Like I have spooks. Like, you know, I don't necessarily need Sully right now, but will I need Sully in like 1, 2, 3, 4 years? Like, absolutely I will. Spooks is, I think, like 92 or something right now. So, like, he now lives in the house. Like, he is an active part of the team, and like he does everything he can during scrim. So it's like about being versatile and about being able to like fit into the scenario that is needed. You know, sure, some teams need starting junglers, some need subs, some need OCS junglers. Like, it's about figuring out, working your way through all of those processes and then wanting to do it. Because so many players say, I want to be a professional League of Legends player. It's like, cool, play on my OCS team. And they're like, oh no, not worth my time. It's like, well then do you really want to be a professional League of Legends player? Because it doesn't sound like it very much.
There you go, folks. I hope that answered your question. And I'll add one more thing, that you can get involved in OPL. So as Bryce was saying, from a sort of like lower grassroots level moving upwards, it's the second week of OPL now. 151 teams competed in week 1 for RP prizes and a shot at the qualifiers stage. And sign-ups for week 2 are still open. You can sign up at any point, but the more weeks you play, the more points and prizes you can earn. Just head to the league client for more details.
That's like 175 people. 500? How many people? 150 times 5? 570 people?
151 teams, yeah. Yeah, that's a stack of people.
That's like a ton of people playing League.
There you go.
It's a big game, bro.
It's about 750 people. It's a successful game. Well done, League of Legends. Now, if you could just sort out that egg question, we're onto a good thing. Next question. Speaking of grassroots League of Legends, Andrew Ray, Snowball.
Oh, yes.
I bought some black jeans that fit very well, feeling
Rayzilla.
chuffed about buying some new jeans. The shop assistant brought to my attention these were women's jeans. Did the shop assistant do the right thing? And should I have bought said jeans?
If they fit you well, you buy them. You don't have to tell anybody that they're women's jeans. Is women's jeans even a thing? Why don't women have men's jeans? Because they have pockets. Like, there's just wear the jeans that fit and that you like.
It's true.
It's kind of two questions, because did the shop assistant do the wrong thing? I mean, if she's trying to get a sale, why would she tell you? You know what I mean? That's only an extra barrier. So maybe she did the wrong thing.
Should be like,
but you bought them anyway, so it's just like, yeah. No, that's
I think there is a risk here, actually. Like, women's jeans that have a fly, first of all.
So I've actually had a pair of women's jeans, which I didn't realize were women's. They were actually like, I can't remember how I got them. I think they were my brother's. I thought they were my brother's, but they actually turned out to be like his girlfriend's. And he left them at my place. And I was like, oh yeah, cool. Because like I've got skinny ass legs.
Yeah.
So I put them on, and it was a very short fly.
Okay.
It was like a shallow fly. So if you know, like a normal fly is like that, it was like that. I was like, oh, that's interesting. All right, whatever. And I think it went the other way as well from memory, like the buttons. But also there was very little room. And so I would say if you're looking for room, then maybe consider a jean that's built for the body that you have. But that being said, if you look banging in them, go for it, please. Send us some pictures. I feel like the shop assistant did the right thing by saying, "Sir, just so you know, these are women's jeans, but I think you look great." Like that's what you would want, to be like, I don't want you to buy something you're not happy with, but at the same time, I'm not going to shame you. You look amazing.
Yeah, if you're looking banging, that's
That's
it.
That's the Nick Boy advice.
Spot on.
Alexander Sybil,
Yes.
a brother perhaps to
Yes.
Lachlan.
Diane Keaton.
This is the question, the job interview question. Best job interview skills, tips, or advice?
I have tons.
You have tons.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah, I've been
As
through
a man that has never had a job,
So
I
many-
have so much advice, says Bryce.
have interviewed for my high school job at KFC.
Yep.
And I got it.
Yep. Okay.
And hell yeah.
Next question.
Yeah, you know, I rocked up. I did wear a little a button-up shirt,
Yep.
and they were like, "Sure."
And the job requirements are like 14 and very slow at your job, because I figure that's the defining characteristic when I go there.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then, so that's my advice.
Do you remember the
Just-
job interview?
Your advice is be 14 and be slow at your job.
Yeah, clearly. No,
Yeah,
I
but
have,
wear a button-up.
I have very little.
Okay. Do you have any?
It's not. So all the jobs that I applied for, I think there was one that I did an actual interview for. The rest have been like hospitality stuff, which honestly is like who you know,
Yep.
not necessarily what you can do, and then you learn the skills doing it.
Yeah.
But the first thing is like to genuinely have questions to ask, right? Like if it's a good job, not a KFC, like having meaningful questions to ask is probably the most important thing at the end of an interview, besides the interview itself.
I 100% agree. That was going to be my answer. Besides, like, dressing well, going in with confidence, feeling like you deserve the job, because you may feel like you don't, but going at the end of the interview, if it's like you said, any sort of job where they're looking for any sort of like good candidate, they're going to go, now, do you have any questions? And the last thing you want to do is go, no, I think I'm good, because it just shows that you're not interested in the business at all. You should absolutely be talking about not only like the business's like long-term objectives, but also, what sort of like growth can I see in this from from my position? Is there an opportunity to move up the ladder? Blah blah blah. Yep. Jake,
Know the values of the company that you're going to, because so many times it's seen as an effort check. If you're going to work at, like, say, an insurance company and you don't know what their market differentiator is, like what their core pillars and values are, what they do for the community around them, things like that, like, it sounds like you're being a kiss ass, but like that literally, when I used to work in like a proper job, full-time job, was like what we used to interview for, because it's like that person actually is engaged and wants to work for this company, not wants this job at a multitude of different companies, which is often the like differentiator if you are going for an unskilled job. If you're going for a job where like it obviously requires like very like strict requirements and experience, and you're like, a CEO level, you get to be more picky. But if you're like a 21-year-old looking for your first job, like there is a plethora of people out there that probably have your entry-level skills, and then it comes down to like how you're differentiating yourself from the pack, and that's a very easy way to do it.
It's a random point to that as well. In my first ever interview with Riot, they asked me what their motto was.
Yeah.
right?
Which is, correct me if I'm wrong, it's been a while. We aspire to be the most player-focused game company in the world.
Yeah.
But like knowing that was important then, right? And if
Yeah.
I didn't know that, it'd be like,
Yeah,
awkward.
totally.
Do I want to work at Riot or just in games?
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. My first job interview was I got the job was at Video Easy, and I turned up. We were running late from a week-long sort of like school bivouac military.
Bivouac.
Yeah, like out in the bush, like.
Okay.
A bivvy is a tarpaulin that you string between two trees to sleep underneath, bro.
And so we would nickname it that because it's like that's basically how you're rocking for the week. But I turned up covered in mud, full camo paint on, like fatigues, everything, and the bus came back from the thing running late. So like I go into the job interview like stinking, haven't had a shower in a week, blah blah, and still got the job because of the power of my charisma. So there you go. I guess this was just an opportunity to gloat. So it feels good.
Next question.
And finally, for now, at XVanX says 10 reps, 2 sets, or 8 reps, 3 sets for bulk.
For bulk, 5x5. Both of those are wrong.
Yeah. Or you could do like multiple sets, like more sets for 3,
Yes.
depending on how you want to do it. But 5x5 for bulk, 100%. More reps, more heart rate, more workout, more cardiovascular, not what you want.
Generally, also like lighter weight because you're doing more of them, so the weight naturally has to be lighter, which means lengthen muscle as opposed to shorten muscle. And bulk wants shorten muscle.
That
What
was
are we
a simple
talking about?
question.
Weights.
The gym.
Like, but the numbers, like
Yeah. So sets and reps.
yeah,
Right. So.
oh, reps is the amount.
Yeah.
And sets are
is
how many
of
times
those.
you do those.
Yeah.
Okay, right.
We were speaking code words, weren't we?
Well, you all immediately just jumped into 5x5, or 3 sets of 12 if you're looking for.
And also, warm-up sets don't count for any of them.
Nope.
So if you do 5x5 and your first 2 are warm-ups, you're just doing 3x5.
Are you warming up with lighter weights?
Yes.
Depends.
You should.
Everyone warms up differently,
Yeah.
right? But yeah, lighter weights for warm-ups because working sets are at the maximum that you can do on that. So like if it's 5 reps, you want to be on the 5th one, like real struggle to get it up.
How many reps do you reckon you could do of me?
How much do you weigh?
Like 78?
Oh, I could do 5x5.
5x5.
Very easy.
Oh, then again, there's movement, so I'd
Yeah.
say maybe not. 5x3.
Are we factoring in the like weird distribution of weight?
No, I just thought you were the bar.
Okay, right. So imagine
So
I'm
if
sitting on
it's,
top of a
if
bar.
it's literally you,
Yep.
much more difficult
Yep.
because like you're not rigid either.
Well, not yet. I feel like we just found ourselves a brand new MEO segment. Where
Benching Nick.
I just we construct some sort of like bar seat scenario, and I just sit down and like players
Get lifted.
Yeah, because everyone around the building seems to lift things all the time. So let's do that. All right, good. Speaking of lifting, Mammoth want to lift the trophy at the end of the split at the MEO, and their next step is taking down the Direwolves for the game number 2.
Yeah, Calvin sitting on this very couch yesterday, coming out and being like, this is the first time we've actually had a strong early game. We're not fighting to get back into the game, whereas Direwolves coming off this one, off a victory It's certainly a hard task going into Mammoth, but theirs was much slower, right? Like they're coming into it, and it was like, can they end this game? It did take 3 Barons. It was very drawn out. So I think these two teams coming in at different angles. But yeah, certainly both want the W.
Direwolves also seem like a team that can lift against the best teams. Remember last time these
Yeah.
two faced each other, there was an open nexus in terms of how close the game was.
Yeah.
But with Mammoth, you have to be able to hit the nexus to 0 or the game isn't over.
That was an exciting game.
Yeah.
That was a good one. All right, well, let's see if we're in for another banger. Chef's kiss. Mwah! You look excellent. Let's throw it over to the Max Champ Select.
Thank you. Yeah. Second game.
It is a second game. Last time these two
second game.
teams played, it was actually very exciting. Bryce, before you leave the room, can you get me a drink of water, please? Bryce just pulls the most disgusted face in the world, and whenever he asks me, I always do it. I just say, yes, my lord, and then run off upstairs. All right, then, off I go.
Oh my god, it's spreading. Yep.
What do you think about this game?
About this game?
Yeah.
Well, I say this every single time, but, you know, Direwolves are a team who can punch above their weight and also punch below their weight.
Do you want to change roles?
What? And I'll just be color today?
Yeah. Well, not today, but for this game.
Sure.
All right. Well, Lux,
Yes, my lord.
Sejuani, and Azir have been battleweight pulse.
Oh no, I meant to say something analytical.
No, that's all right. I can do this. Sejuani is a really interesting blue side ban right now because Sylas seems to be the answer to her.
Yeah.
And also, now that has the ability to flex into solo lanes again, is an even better answer, right? Because you can just take it.
Yeah.
And then if all of a sudden they take something like, say, Vladimir, which is a very good Sylas matchup now, you can be like, okay, we'll take something else that beats Sejuani in the jungle, say a Gragas, and then we have like this power of, you know, double counter pick on red side, which is just so incredibly potent.
I would never have been able to say that. I think, like, play-by-play in color is such like a state of mind. Because if I come into a day and I'm like, you're an analyst for today, like, I can be like, all right, this is the way I'm going to think.
Yeah.
But it's like a mindset. Because you've done both now as well, right?
Correct.
And it's like, I don't think I would ever be able to, like, go into a game and, like, swap. I'm just like, and now I'm just, I need prep.
I remember the first cast of MSI play-ins I did. After I'd play-by-play the whole season, I was casting with pastry time.
Yeah.
And I took a team fight, and like 4 words into the sentence, he goes, "That's my job," like on the cast, and then starts yelling over the top of me, and I went, "Holy shit, he's right. Like
That's
that is
pretty
his
great,
job."
though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he had the biggest grin on his face because he'd never, obviously, I'd worked with pastry for like 4 years. He'd never seen me do it, and he was like, good effort, rookie, but sit down, like get back in your lane.
Yeah, props to pastry, man. Yeah, it's been a while since we've been on a broadcast together, but yeah, no, it is. It's such a different thing. I was talking to Bryce on the way here about it, like swapping roles. But yeah, no, we have the rest of the bands coming through: Azir, Vladimir, Sylas, Direwolf picking up Zaya 1/2, Lovers duo, and Akali into the solo lane. Yumi, Corki, Ezreal just straight up picked by Mammoth.
Yeah, I mean, Mammoth are flying through this champion select, right?
Yeah.
And after smashing Order yesterday, they've gone kind of with Order's draft. They're scaling, do nothing, like just get to mid-game team fighting draft. So I think this is what Order expected Mammoth to play. So a little bit more of a return to normal for Mammoth. But this is a very aggressive Direwolves lineup. Zaya, Rakan, as well as Akali. That's like a mid one-item spiking, very good skirmishing, mobile composition to be able to get things done with.
Yeah, and you know, Direwolves just like as a team seems to be just like taking liftoff right now. You know, like they were kind of near to the bottom of the scoreboard for a long time. Like, you know, middle, bottom, you're looking towards like teams like Gravitas, very similar.
Thanks, P.
Bryce is coming in, the official servant of the OPL.
Yeah, and he's good at it, you know.
He is.
Good
attitude.
But I think kind of Direwolves have built the ship, right?
Yeah.
So they spent the first couple of weeks, you know, they're 6-7, they were building the ship. The ship is built. The jets have turned on. They're about to take off. Avant, Order, and Gravitas are sitting there praying that this thing explodes and just goes nowhere.
A technical malfunction.
Yeah, there's a technical malfunction. Like, unfortunately, pilots will die. But you know what? It's for the greater good. Whereas everyone else, like, at the top of the standings is like, wow, if this does take off, all of a sudden we could have a 4-team race. Because it kind of does look like Avant has dropped off a little bit. And obviously they can turn that around. It's only been a week and a half. But right now it does seem like it's, you know, Mammoth, Chiefs, Bombers, and Direwolves are trying to join that kind of group as well.
Yeah.
And I think this is one of those games that it'll show you how close you are to it. Because, you know, Order before this week, they would have said, you know, coming off a win, then lost against Chiefs, but 6,000 gold lead, then thrashed by Mammoth. Okay, we're not there. Like, absolutely we're not there. Direwolves are in a similar situation where it's like, okay, we've had, like, you know, a very good weekend now. We've brought Totoro back into the lineup. Biggest test that we've had so far is going to be against Mammoth. Like, how do we go against this team? Because maybe even a close game is enough confidence for this team to be like, yes, we are, you know, the playoff team to round out that and try and have a good gauntlet run.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Complete echo all of those thoughts, you know, into Mammoth right here. Like, maybe that is the objective. Because obviously, you were talking about, like, Avant versus Direwolves yesterday, right? Like, Direwolves, for me, are in a very similar ship to the Bombers.
Yep.
I would say, like, not quite this, like, the same story, but not quite the same, like, magnificence that I've looked at Bombers and been like, wow, okay, this is just, like, you know, a top contention team now. But then we're looking over to Mammoth right here, 11-2, just slowly accumulating wins over the split, looking towards their last pick. Have picked up Skarner, and it will just be Nara in the end. So we have a lot of potential solo laners, but it should be Nara into the top side, Corki in the middle, or could be swapped.
And that is Bio's old counter, Tana, that's being hovered right now, the Swain. So it certainly looks to be more of the Akali mid lane for get back as well into the Corki. And then Swain top lane would be the pickup. I'm expecting that to be locked in because he's just played it so much. And it's not going to be.
Okay.
That is going to be a Karthus jungle for Raze.
I mean, you'd expect it, right? Like, Aatrox picked up Akali, yeah, and then Karthus jungle.
Well, Aatrox is a pretty good jungler, I
He
think,
can
on this
jungle,
patch.
yeah.
Because his revive has been taken out of his kit. And he has more self-healing and a much quicker burst of speed, right? So that means, like, his ganks now, when you get level 6, you, like, hit the wings, are actually really, really good ganks. And he's a much better skirmisher than he is 5v5 teamfighter. Whereas, you know, in previous times, it was like, get me the one kill, I'm the best teamfighter in the game. No one wants to hit me because I've got a free revive, and I'm going to build a GA, and you're going to have to kill me 3 times before it's actually over. Now it's just like, you die and it's done.
Yeah, I mean, we've gone past the 20-second mark, so it will be Karthus jungle. Top lane. Yeah, Nara into Aatrox mid lane. Yeah, Corki into Akali. Okay.
And I really like this Karthus pickup. I think it was actually us that did the same thing to Direwolves, and I think that's the only other Karthus pick that has been picked in the OPL so far this split.
It would have been week 1 or 2, I think.
Yeah, one of these team comps is designed to do not very much, and that is the Mammoth comp. They just are going to scale to 1.5 items, and then they're going to be probably the best team fighting comp that you can put together at this point. Yuumi plus double Bruiser plus 2 traditional Trinity Force users. Like, I mean, what else do you really want in a 5v5? Not much, in my argument. And that means Karthus is just going to be like, okay, I'm going to try and put the jungle on farm as quickly as possible. And Karthus by himself at 3 items is enough to out-team fight most team comps. Not saying this is one of them because there's very good range on the Mammoth lineup, but in the right position, Karthus at 3 items, at jungle item, plus magic penetration, plus death cap, is just a whole nightmare for the Mammoth comp to deal with.
As we get into game, we have the Mammoth coach with us. How are you today?
I'm good, thank you.
And yeah, we were just talking about the composition here from Direwolves, specifically about the Karthus Fantix. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think it's a good pick in meta. You could pick it into like a matchup where like if the enemy jungle just kind of picks early, then you can consider it. And I mean, like some teams really like it, like globally, and some don't. Like obviously, it's not played in EU at all anymore, but like LCK teams still favorite. Yeah, I think it's still good.
And talk to me kind of about the different pace the game can be played at the moment, because you smashed Order yesterday, right? And Order pretty much had your draft, like bar a couple of little alterations that Mammoth have made. But you guys played really quick yesterday. And now it looks to me like Direwolves' draft is quite a quick draft as well right now. They don't want to get outscaled. I'd say you have the scaling advantage in this game. Is that just a patch-specific thing? Is it red versus blue side? Like, where is your thoughts at it, how the speed of the game at the moment?
That's a good question. I think we can definitely play, like, I guess we're just a very adaptable team. Like, we're comfortable playing a lot of different drafts, so, I wouldn't say it's like, it's not like an overcomplicated thing. It's just like, if the draft looks good, like, we'll take it, and we're capable of playing fast and slow, so, obviously contrary to a lot of teams in the OPL, which seem to be becoming more molded into a very specific style. For example, you know, Chiefs are really trying to force like the fast style. yeah, I think we can play both. So yeah, that's why we're seeing a difference.
Is the early game something you're looking to index in? We heard from King yesterday, like he was saying it was a relief to actually like win an early game transition to make like natural advances. Like, is that something you're looking towards now?
Yeah, no, it was something that we were struggling with a bit. Obviously, like we have been playing more like late game comps than like tempo comps, so it's a given that we would fall behind in lane a little bit, but we were falling a little bit too behind, and yeah, that was obviously a clear weakness that we've gotten a lot better at like mending in the past couple of weeks.
And we are about to jump into pause, so we'll keep you around a little bit longer. We got asked a viewer question, right? Which I'm really interested in your take, because you've been a pro player and then you actually created an amateur team, which you didn't play on and did play on, you know, in Intuition. And now obviously you're on Mammoth, one of the mammoths of the Oceanic esports system. And they said, as a high-ranked player, how should I try and get into pro? So what are your advices as both someone that's done it, but also someone that's tried to scout people like Fudge, Topoon out of kind of Challenger?
That's a difficult question to answer because like people have like different rates of learning. It's very like varied. If you're like climbing really fast in solo queue just from playing the game straight up, then there's a good chance that you can just get picked up straight away just like that. And in my opinion, that's just the most reliable to do it. Just like focusing on yourself and trying to be as good as you can. I'd also recommend, you know, like not like wasting too much time on it if like it doesn't look like it's going to be a viable option for you. Like if you're not, I would say like if you can't just get like top 50 in OS, for example, like with relative ease, I would say it's not worth it. So, but you know, if you have the confidence and determination to do it, like it's still like go for it.
So what do you mean by like, as in, so you're expecting someone that wants to become pro, that like within that split, if they like put their mind to it, like it's like an 8-week climb into like top 50, right? That's kind of what you're saying?
Yeah, sort of. I mean, actually, I want to rephrase that actually. I think if it's not like, all right, I've set this goal for myself and I can get this within a reasonable time frame and you can't actually do it, then I don't think you should go for it.
Yep.
But if you're like, if either you naturally did it without even thinking, you're just playing the game like mindlessly, and you're still so good mechanically, and you've managed to climb so high, like that's like you've ticked all the green lights there.
Yeah. Last question I have for you, because you were an amazing pro player, and then you went to Korea, and like in my opinion, that was like the turning point when you went from being like a great host player to like probably the MVP. In fact, I think I gave you the MVP of that split. Yeah. What do you think about like an 18-year-old saving up, you know, maybe a couple of grand or whatever, and getting themselves over into a Korean boot camp?
Okay, well, I'm pretty opinionated about this. I think if you're not doing well enough in OS, you shouldn't go, because it's just not economically viable. I like it's too much of a risk. But at the same time, I still respect those that like want to like gamble. You know, like they really want it really bad, and like there are players that like can forcibly like just become good when they weren't improving that fast previously. So. I mean, it's really hard to say. I still would recommend that, like, if you can get high ranked in solo queue naturally in Oceania, then it's a better chance for you to go. Yeah.
Wow, that was awesome. Thank you so much for that insight, and yeah, best of luck.
All good. Thank you.
I really like talking to Richard about stuff like that, because like it's very rare that you get someone that has done all three of those things at a very high level.
Yeah.
For those that don't know, Intuition as an OCS org lost one best of the whole time, and unfortunately it was against Chiefs to make it into the OPL, right? So stumbled at the final hurdle, but he was a very integral person to bringing up a lot of those young kids. Dream was on that team. Fudge was on that team, right? So he's bringing up all these people that are now in the OPL.
Yeah.
Now he's got Mammoth, which is a completely different team to coach, right? And he's obviously doing a very good job of that, because he's turned around a disastrous, you know, 5th place season into an 11-2 season. And as a pro player, as I said, he won MVP. He's won the OPL, right? So kind of has ticked multiple boxes off in the OPL. So I think like if you're going to listen to someone of how you make this thing actually work, it probably is Fantix. And, you know, as I said, he got better from going to Korea, but it was because he was better than Oceanic players. Like if you're not top 10, like is it actually worthwhile? Like I have that question to my players all the time as well. So it's very interesting.
Absolutely. I mean, sometimes you just need to take a hard look at like yourself, which I think like not only just as a like a gameplay thing, but as like a human being thing is just a very difficult thing to do. You know, to like cross-reference what you think about yourself to like what friends and family to like objective third party think about you, and then honestly say like, how good am I? Is this viable? Can I do it, as Fantasy was saying, in like a reasonable time frame? Because you hear stories all the time of like, I committed a year of my life, and if I didn't do it, I would just do anything else. I would go into like a regular job. Like I committed a split, you know, and like that differs for different people. Like not only just in becoming a pro player, but also finding a career in esports, right? Like, and it is so nuanced. I think like the number of resources that you can actually find in esports is relatively low. So I think like listening to people like Fantix, like that is a rare opportunity and a rare interview that you get to listen to and actually take something from.
Yeah, absolutely. And I always say it about casters as well, as Destiny's going to dodge out here. If you're not already casting, you probably don't want to become a caster, right? Like casting, I think for every caster that I know, if you wanted to be a caster, you're doing it while you had a full-time job. Like you were just like either casting your mates' games or you were casting amateur leagues, like you were casting in the UK, I was casting in the OPL, Oceanic Challenger Series, like those kinds of things. Bryce was casting while he was a pro player, right? All of us obviously had a very good interest in this. Like I hear so much like, oh, I want to become a caster, how do I do it? And I'm like, have you ever casted before? And they're like, no. And I'm like, you probably don't want to become a caster. Which is really interesting. Taking stock of where we're at in this game, it's going to be Babbitt, first gank.
Yeah, finding Raze in the river right there. Get Back wants to jump into this fight, but may have just overcommitted. 1 versus 2. Finds Babbitt jumping on towards this. Has Karthus ultimate coming down. Gets a 1-for-1 trade. Get Back chasing down into the jungle. Jumps the wall away from Topoon's teleport. Looking great there. A 1-for-1.
Yeah, really nicely done from the Direwolves actually, because they maintain their teleport priority here on BioPanther. That means that if another play like that happens, they're going to be able to go for it. A little bit questionable taking the kill away from the Karthus at this stage of the game. That is going to be one of the Dark Harvest procs not being picked up and a wasted Karthus ult. You do hate that as a Karthus player, and especially if you're the one falling down, but it should give some pressure to get back here in this mid lane, you know, maybe accelerate that Gunblade and get him towards, you know, a little bit more of the mid-game power spike. But so far, the reason we're able to have an extending interview and kind of talk about other stuff is this is going to be a really slow, methodical early game for both of these teams.
Oh, yeah.
Direwolves just want to get to one item on a completely neutral game so far. It's not going all that well because they're about 1,000 gold behind. And Mammoth probably want to farm until 2 or 3 items.
Yeah.
Like, they're happy this game going nowhere.
Yeah, this is a classic RTS Nova Rush 20, and we'll see you later once we've all built up our armies, and we'll clash later. That one fight happened in the river from a pick there, was from Babbitt forcing. And outside of those opportunities, really not going to see a ton of action. We can analyze how like the lanes are going, like obviously mid lane small, a CS advantage, Corki into Akali, top lane, the same thing, range into Aatrox matchup. There is a way for BioPanther to like overpower them now, but not really without like jungle intervention, and you have a Karthus jungle who's going to be ripping through this jungle, as you can see.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, this is what it's going to come down to, because you've taken yourself the Akali, as I said, for that mid-game presence. So that means that Raze has to be able to really farm into that point. Because the way I think about Karthus is he's that extra 300 damage you need in the one-on-ones, right? And he doesn't actually have to be there.
Yeah.
So every one-on-one that you take in League of Legends, if you're like, ooh, we're going to like 50-50 this one, you win with a Karthus.
Yeah.
Every all-in on Akali where you're like, oh, I need to chip him like 300 health before I can all-in him, you no longer have to go for that chip, right? He's just like this little pocket ace that you have at every stage of the game, which is really valuable, but not valuable until he does that damage.
Right.
And unfortunately right now, you know, on just purely jungle item, as I said, he needs an Oblivion Organ Sword boost before he is that pocket ace, because we've got things like Hex Drinker being built up right now that will shut down a lot of that damage.
Yeah, it's more prevalent in games where you do actually have kill lane skill matchups, that type of thing, when, yes, like, kill ranges are very much, like, less theoretical and are going to become a thing, right? Like, Get Back looking for this harass right now, but Corki's already got Hex Drinker, right? Like, we've had time for these lanes to farm up out of that kill range. So Karthus becomes less useful in that regard, and you're right, we're looking towards items before you really hit that stage. But yeah, very much like reverse Soraka, right? Because Soraka was just like, okay, well, we can't engage on these people because they have the potential ability to turn this one around, but Karthus is the opposite, in which you can initiate because you have the extra damage.
There's also kind of 2 different styles of Karthus play, as you might be caught out here.
Yep. Being caught in the jungle, probably not one of those styles. Getting suppressed down. We'll have the passive coming up, though, and Direwolves jumping all over this play, flashing away. Karthus is still alive on this one, and they get the kill down onto King. Direwolves getting away with this one, and Biopamp teleporting into the bottom lane. That turned into a pick into a counterplay from Direwolves, now looking towards the bottom lane.
Yeah, do they go for the dive here?
Triple backing away. Here comes the Karthus ultimate down onto Babip underneath the tower. Finished off by the Aatrox crit. And Triple, I mean, just sees his entire team come to the bottom lane and just get murdered.
Yeah, and I mean, they needed to make that happen because Bio had committed the teleport. If his recall gets stopped here, it is a disaster, which it does, because all of a sudden, that's going to be another 2 plates gone from the top lane, and Triple is just being such a nuisance right now. Really, Topoon is the biggest beneficiary of what just happened on the map, although Direwolves do pick up the 2 kills.
Yeah, I mean, almost a crucial block there from Totoro. Destiny even taking 2 tower shots to look for another recall stop there. I mean, if that was onto top lane, that's, I mean, you're down to a single plate left on top lane if that's a cancelled recall. So Topoon, you're absolutely right. Like, he just picked up three waves.
Yeah, and he's going to be able to clear out this last one very, very quickly as well, so it's going to be even more CS loss. In saying that, Bio was lucky enough to be the recipient of one of those kills. I really like that when you give one of the kills over to your top laner. He's made the teleport play. That's another kill also onto the Akali, so she has very good threat at the moment, especially with Karthus starting to get into the position where, you know, as we mentioned, needs Soft Boots, needs Oblivion Orb, probably needs level 11 with a Hex Drinker on Summoner's Rift, but has got all of those things starting to come online now.
I mean, just for context, right, like, you're probably looking at it, but we're talking about waves and, like, what does that actually mean in numbers? He basically got a double kill worth of gold. And that's at 12 minutes, an early Black Cleaver plus extra items. Like, the difference between just having a Black Cleaver rush, but then also having, like, a Boots, a Darian's, also, like, you know, the makings of a Tabby's, that type of thing, like, is a huge difference, right? Like, that will swing the top lane matchup here for Topoon considerably into Biopanther.
Especially as a Gnar, right? Because Gnar's biggest attribute is the hyper proc and the movement speed boost. So early boots too is just so crucial on the champion. This is a really unique flip right now. It is a 13-minute flip of 80 carries not into the top lane, but into the mid lane. And that must be because of the Hex Drinker plus phase. You know, that's just Get Back saying, I can no longer kill this guy. So you need to be able to lane into him, you know, zone him away or create pressure on the top side of the map for something like a Herald. Because I can't do it anymore by myself.
But what you can deal with is laning into this dual lane, just farming away. Has the Hextech Gunblade now, but yeah, we've got this contest onto Herald. Triple, tossing out those rockets,
Teleport coming
over
in.
the wall. He's perfect opportunity for an engage here, RNS. Has the raid bar. Flash forward, get the stun immediately down onto the Akali as he teleports in. Great start to the fight here from Mammoth, and Dai will say, nope, want nothing to do with this. However, Mammoth have started off the Herald raise over the wall if he wanted to try and steal, but looks like he's not interested. Direwolves a full disengage.
Yeah, and it looks like some crazy indecision coming out from Direwolves there versus Mammoth, who are just so decisive because they all collapse onto the teleport. That is, you know, Totoro being able to go for the flash knock up there as 3 people crowded around the teleport. You know, Biopanther also with ulti available could have dove in there, but they don't go for it. That's going to cost them mid lane turret. Huge power swing right now for Mammoth.
And it really just goes back to, like, Mammoth's ability to absorb, and just unleash that pressure, right? Like, it's almost phenomenal that it happens every single game you watch Mammoth, and, like, it was, I think, 4 or 5 games. Like, it was hilarious hearing from King as we were talking about in the interview, right? Like, he was saying this is the first time in a long time we've actually had the advanced early game, but that's been one of the big strengths of Mammoth, the fact that they do go for these, like, scaling, like, ramp-up comps, and are still able to go, like, near even, and then just hit back with such unbelievable pressure. Have now just swung into a gold lead, double dragons, and able to pretty much contain all of these towers. Triple into the mid lane, has Yuumi attached on top of him, just instantly going to kill down Raze. Totoro caught on this one as well, just back towards him, but the Spiral package is there. Katsuri now under attack, throws out the Feather Storm, but 3 versus 1, trying to make it back to the tower. Blade Call is good on top of the flash, but Triple still following, detach out from Destiny, and the final fadeaway Phosphorus Bomb will find the 3rd.
And what a play out of Mammoth. You know, we talk about the fact that they weren't playing scaling comps. The reality was, on average, they were down 1,500 gold. Now, this is a scaling comp that at 15 minutes, they are up 3,000 gold. That's a 4,500 gold swing to where Mammoth is on average. This early game cannot be understated. They are crushing Direwolves right now. You know, they run in with package, with teleport, and the cat. They're able to have so much lockdown, just beautiful patience out of Triple, knows his cooldown so well, and Katsuri uses everything to try and escape here. You know, flashes included, and Triple is just unrelenting with the pressure that he's able to put down. Picks up much needed kills on the Corki, and already at this stage in the game, you know, you're 2,000, 3,000 gold up with a scaling comp. This game is like, the time is done. Like, Mammoth are exactly where they need to be.
Yeah, the egg timer is definitely going off right now. You know, like Topoon's in a fantastic position. Corki with those multiple kills. Sat on Triforce Hex Drinker, and he also has boots. Like, this is huge spikes across the board. If there's like anything they want to fight over, they can just go for it. You know, feeling pretty good about that. Karthus also just unfortunately just getting caught out there. Another death on him, and you know, Karthus is still really struggling to get to that point where like Karthus is relevant.
Yeah, I would agree. And I think that a big part of that is, you know, you check Karthus and you want him to be 30 CS up at this stage of the game. He's 10. Like, that's not enough against a passive farmer like Skarner. Biopanther, Anderson threat.
Wow, still tags on towards him. Plus up the chains onto Babip. Dodges through it, but still opened up enough distance with the flash. Biopanther, bottom lane tower though, will go down here to Mammoth. And Triple, even more gold over to him.
Yeah, and as soon as Triple doesn't chase that one, right, you know you're not going to be able to kill. Yumi and Skarner do next to no damage between the two of them, but you've chased him all the way back to the inner. You've taken the turret. You see on the top side of the map, they're committing similar pressure, but it's also Katsuri, which means mid lane will also be under fire and should fall down. This is a 3-for-1 trade right now.
This is a true triple push coming out here. This is crazy. I mean, double inner turrets about to be taken here from Mammoth. They get the mid lane. Bottom lane also got to fall over. I mean, that was 3 towers in the last maybe 40, 50 seconds.
And this is what they do, right? They push you into scenarios where you're like, okay, we're even. They made a play. We're behind. How do we catch back up? And they call your bluff every time. They just say, okay, go for that play. We're going to go for our play instead, and we're confident that our play is the correct play. And then something like this happens, right? You've got an extra creep wave, and you're like, okay, this is fine. And then it's 3 turrets versus 1. You're like, where did we go wrong? Like, what was incorrect about this play? Why are they so confident in sieging 2 different lanes with, you know, equal to lesser numbers? And I don't know, just Mammoth right now playing some real nice League of Legends.
I mean, it's a chess term that's basically putting your opponent in like a fork situation or even a skewer, and that's what it felt right there from Mammoth. But very rarely do you get a situation where you not only win, but like win by 2 towers over your opponent. Biopanther getting caught in rotation, essentially. No revive on this one, and King will find himself another kill.
I mean, you just don't own any of the map right now if you're Direwolves, and it feels so terrible to play the game this way. You know, that is, at 18 minutes, a completely reasonable area to be walking as a solo laner, and you just get caught out, you know, Predator in there, and now they're continuing to look for more.
Katsuri in the mid lane tossed out the better Storm, but 3 versus 1. Suppression immediately. He's got his Lover's Duo partner there to potentially save him, but all it was potential. He'll just use him to get back behind the mid lane tower. Triple into the top lane. Also pushing. It just feels like right now Mammoth have more members. I mean, technically they do with that kill in the mid lane, but like they're just everywhere, doing everything at the same time.
Yeah, they just have the initiative on every play, right? And with it a scaling comp, that's something that's just, I mean, honestly a beauty to behold. It's very rare that an Oceanic team has both the macro skill as well as the micro ability to be able to get through laning phase. And you can see right now, Mammoth are showing that 100% that is what they have in the OPL. I mean, they've put the whole league on notice. They've done what the Bombers did last split. You know, to be 11-2 is already impressive enough, but then to come into week 7 and have back-to-back games where this one isn't over, but, you know, it is going to be a hill for Direwolves to get back into it.
Absolutely. Ray steps forwards, loses 60% of his HP package for the disengage. Get back low, though. This could be the re-engage, though, from Topoon because he's in the perfect position. Finds one. He's still pushing forwards. Gets the wallop on to Biopanther. Just the tip of that one. Redemption comes through, and Totoro getting chased down by Babbitt. Biopanther essentially body blocking for his team to get someone away from this. King jumps forwards, looking for a Mystic shot. Another 2 kills to Mammoth. They're playing so quickly.
They certainly are, and King was able to recall in that fight and teleport back. That's why he's there with full health. That should be the Baron picked up. I don't see a way that you're able to contest this one against the 5 members of Mammoth still up and available. And that was the proactive play that Direwolves looked for. You know, they felt like the clock had expired, that if they did not make it now into a Baron buff, they were not going to be able to fight back into the game. Well, Mammoth absorb all of that. They get themselves the 8,000 gold lead, and looking to close out the Direwolves.
I don't know about you, Spawn, but like I look at how the league's gone in the last 2-3 weeks now, and I look towards MEO, and I almost feel like the championship is like locked down, right? Like for finals, you know, finalists that like I feel like I know who they're going to be already.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like right now Chiefs or Bombers is going to be joining Mammoth. Mammoth, obviously, 11-2 are going to be very difficult. Now 12-2 if they win this game to catch. Chiefs are 1 game behind them. Head-to-head going to be really crucial. I think Bombers are 3 games behind them, something like that. So, like, don't get me wrong, still a lot of games to be played in the season. I think still nearly a complete round robin to be done after today. But you're right. I mean, they're just slamming teams below them on the ladder. And I don't mean, you know, like the Legacies and the Gravitas and the Orders, but now Direwolves are in the playoff race.
Yeah.
And they've just been manhandled so far this game.
Because I opened the game talking about Direwolves and how they were like ramping in the same way that Bombers were, beating teams around them now. Like, I think the win against Avant was pretty crucial for Direwolves and their trajectory. But, I mean, you just look at, like, the gap between them and Mammoth, and it's actually crazy. Babip looking towards Totoro, who just wants to get back to base, man. Jumps away. Nope, that's not Xayah. Gets the stun down. If there was anyone else there, you know Babip was going to do it, but that was enough of a distraction for the Siege in the bottom side with Baron buff. Easy inhibitor take.
I mean, this is honestly just like such impressive League of Legends to watch. And sure, this is a late game scaling comp that is now scaled, and the clock really did run out on the Direwolves comp. But you have to remember how they got there. This team was in front from like a minute 11.
Yep.
You know, the game doesn't start this way. To be this far accelerated at 22 minutes, you must have done lots of things correct. And that just seems to be the similar story with Mammoth the whole time.
Totoro with a big flank, though, gets a triple charm. Katsuri trying to push forwards, but their engage is already dead, Direwolves, and they are immediately backing away. Blade Caller just put the disengage and get back off to the side, wanted to flank with Totoro, but not going to happen, says Mammoth. Pushing down the mid lane, looking towards the inhibitor. And they may even look for more right here. Going to back away. You have to imagine they have so much gold in their back pocket, though, after that push.
Yeah, I reckon you might be right. You know, 1,800 on the mid laner, that's 3,000, nearly 4,000 gold for triple ahead. 80 carry, you know, 2,500 as well. You know, this is starting to become completed items leads in multiple roles. Really, the only one that is within touching distance is going to be top lane. And to be completely fair to BioPanther, the game's been irrelevant for him and Topoon. They kind of haven't done all that much together. That was a very good handshake top lane into a resounding Mammoth kind of lead right now.
Yeah, and I felt like that's probably as good as it gets. You know, almost the perfect flank from Totoro, comes in behind them, gets a triple charm and knock up. And the team wasn't able to capitalize. You know, if that doesn't work at this stage in the game into Mammoth, what will? Well, maybe a pick onto Babip. Triple also forced to back away. BioPanther chasing him down, and Babip by himself. But here's the rest of the cavalry right behind him inside their own jungle. Direwolves, Razor's already dead. Totoro pushing onto him, get the second. And BioPanther scrambling to get out of this fight now. The rest of the team is recalling a Babip. Complete turnaround, wasn't even afraid. And he's found BioPanther, still had the Impale. And Topoon Destiny, enough DPS here to turn this one around onto the Aatrox. 3 for 1 onto, it was only triple dying.
Yeah, it was Bio being able to pick up the kill onto the Corki there. However, you can see now King prepping waves, pushing into the base. Only 2 members up and available versus the 4. This is going to be a very difficult defend.
Finding Get Back, shove him against the wall, gets the stun on the Nexus turret. Get Back hovering around, just back in with the perfect execution, does not get the kill. Totoro the knockup onto Babip. Blade Caller is good. Ray stepping forwards. Can these Skittles land? We can't even get close right now with the zoning out from King. And the best the Direwolves can do is wipe up this mini wave, but the top lane now being sieged from Mammoth, and they can just take it slow if they want to. Take out all of these mini objectives. Can't stop the recall. And King teleporting. We've got to teleport on top of him. It's going to be Topoon. This looks like it's going to be the last hurrah here from Direwolves. Triple inhibitors down.
Yeah, I mean, there should be a slight numbers mismatch in 10 seconds. It's about whether Direwolves can win this 5v4. No, actually, Triple's already here. In they go.
There's the engage out from Topoon. waiting for it. Triple gets his kill, pushing onto the spawn pad, finds everybody against the shopkeeper. He doesn't want to be part of this fight. He pushed him onto the spawn pad, and Mammoth brutalized the Dire Wolves for their win today.
I mean, that is so one-sided, and they want to take out Get Back as well. Triple kill for King. Nexus will fall down. And that is a message to everyone in the league.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. A declaration of war. Yeah, the Mammoth, we were talking about it, we felt like the gap between them and most of the rest of the league is just, you know, the Atlantic Ocean, you know? Like, Mammoth was just finding everything. Like, for them, it was a slow ramp, but they already started at a good point, you know? Like, we talk about Bombers and how it was exponential, in my opinion. Like, Mammoth, even from very early on, there was a lot of games where it was like back and forth, but you knew that they have safe hands, you know, when you get to the late game in those team fights, and they've only gotten better, but it's just been linear.
Well, the thing is, right, is everyone came into this year and it was like, Bombers are a super team. You know, with FBI, with Rogue, like with the top side of the map that they still have, like that is a genuine super team. The other super team was Mammoth. And then Mammoth were never able to get it to going. Then this split, all those 50-50 games that they lost last season, they started to win.
Into wins, yeah.
And now it's not the 50-50s. It's, you know, the 60-40s, the 70-30s. Like, the last two games have literally been 90-10s. Like, after 11 minutes, you know, you hate to call a game in 11 minutes, but after the 11-minute fight happens, you're like, whoa, this game's really hard for Direwolves to win. And when that happens at 11 minutes into the game, you're like, how good is this team? That you look at their comp, you look at the gold lead, and you're just like, they're not going to make the mistake. They're not going to, you know, throw at the Baron. They're not going to go for the Rift Herald as we saw in the Legacy game and like let that one up. They're the team that have, as you mentioned, you know, the safest hands in the OPL right now. You give them the lead and you just trust them to hold on to it. But more impressively, they're in a deficit, and you're like, when are they going to come back? Like, that's the other question that you always ask yourself.
It's not if, it's when.
Yeah, exactly right. When are they going to look for that opportunity? Then it becomes like, can you shut it down? Whereas Direwolves didn't even get an opportunity that game, right? Like, the game was over. As soon as the double recalls got stopped, Top Moon was so far ahead. Like, everywhere just won.
Yeah, it's just exciting to watch right now from Mammoth. But for now, we're going to send it over to Nick Boy with the interview.
It was exciting to watch. Was it exciting to play for you?
Yeah, that was more of an exciting game. We got a little bit behind from the bot thing, but yeah, it was a clean game.
What were you guys yelling at the end there? As I was walking out of the room upstairs, Bryce is like, they're popping off!
We were pretty much just cheering Jahoon's, Top Moon's, nah.
Yep.
That's pretty much it. We were just overhyping when we already won, so yeah, that's pretty much it.
If you can't support your brothers, who can you support?
Yep.
What is it like coming up against a team that last picked their jungler, from your perspective?
Yeah, that was a bit, I mean, Skarner's like a champion that there's not really many like hard counters, so it's safe, but yeah, I guess they just have an influence on their jungler. They like play around him or something. I don't know. I guess that's what it means.
What do you think of Raze?
I think he does meet my expectations as like a Korean import. His early pathing is like probably one of his strengths. So yeah, that's pretty much my only read on him right now.
Good early pathing.
Good early pathing, yep.
If you were to tier list the junglers, go.
In OPL?
Yeah.
Damn, okay. Okay. Not including myself?
No, including yourself. It's the only reason.
Okay, me?
Yep, good. Wait, are you the top or the bottom? We're going bottom up or top down?
Top down.
Okay, cool. I'm just saying, you could be very humble.
Me only.
Yep.
Damn it. Can I just rate them in the team in the order that the teams are ranked? That's
well, I mean, if you want to cop out, then that's fine. But if that's genuinely how you feel,
that's my ranking. But instead of Guts being 8th,
yep,
he's actually 1st.
Why?
What do you mean? He's the best jungler knows.
Okay, right. Yeah, of course. Sorry, I forgot that. I should have just looked at Twitch chat. All right. And finally, you are arguably the best team in the OPL at the moment.
Yep.
What side do you reckon stronger at the moment, red or blue?
What side of the map?
Yeah.
Well,
Rusty wants to know.
not to give too much away, but we are strong on both sides.
Oh God, we just worked out their strategy now.
No, I was gonna say because of our top laners.
Right,
we,
okay.
we are able to play both sides
Okay.
well. So yeah.
But you have an actual answer, don't you?
Yes.
It's in there somewhere.
It's in there.
I'll get it out. Instead, I'll get out an answer to a different question. Job interview tips. So we've been going through those. Your
Yep.
job interview for Mammoth. Do you have any tips out there for someone looking for prospective employment?
As a player or just as a job?
Just as a human looking for money.
Confidence
Yep.
and skill.
Yep.
That's the two I would suggest, I guess.
So you just walk into a job interview and say those two words?
No, you show them.
Oh, right. Okay. That makes a lot more sense. All right. Well, you certainly have shown confidence and skill tonight. Congratulations on the win.
Thank you.
Enjoy the week. We'll see you next week.
Thank you very much.
We'll see you in a second.
Pretty much contain all of these towers. Triple into the mid lane, has Yumi attached on top of him, just instantly going to kill down Raze. Totoro caught in this one as well, just back towards him, but the Spiral package is there. Katsuri now under attack, throws out the Feather Storm, but 3 versus 1, trying to make it back to the tower. Blade Call is good on top of the flash, but Triple still following, detach out from Destiny, and the final fadeaway fast.
To get back into it.
Absolutely. Raze steps forwards, loses 60% of his HP package for the disengage. Get back low though. This could be the re-engage though from Topoon because he's in the perfect position. Finds one. He's still pushing forwards. Gets the wallop on to Biopanther. Just the tip of that one. Redemption comes through and Totoro getting chased down by Babbitt. Biopanther essentially body blocking.
In this 5v4. No, actually, Triple's already here. In they go.
There's the engage out from Topoon. Waiting for it. Triple gets his kill. Pushing onto the spawn pad. Finds everybody against the shopkeeper. He doesn't want to be part of this fight. He pushed him onto the spawn pad and Mammoth brutalized the Dire Wolves for their win today.
I mean, that is so one-sided, and they want to take out Get Back as well. Triple kill for King. Nexus will fall down. And that is a message to everyone in the league.
You gave me this when we were just 16 years old. Darling, cop up.
A little goes a long way at Macca's. Grab 24 Chicken McNuggets for just $9.95 every day.
Can you hear that thumping?
Yeah, I can hear that
Yeah,
thumping.
there's